Welcome back, friends and colleagues, to another Game Boy related video. Today we're going to be looking at my RPG battle template that I've been working on. I've made it 3v3 and I'm going to be playing it on my little CRT monitor that I've got here. And I will be finding bugs, and at the end as well I'm showing you how I fixed some of them, talking you through a bit more of the code and the struggles I've had, and some tips for you to overcome some of these struggles I've had, or not even get to them, because if you design a tight game, you don't really need to spend so much time coding and testing. And remember, if you want to get these files and look at this yourself, please support me on Patreon. I will be ever so grateful, and I'll happily look at your games too. And also on there I have a tier that we do a face-to-face call, and that would be perfect if you want to show me through your game project and talk about any struggles you might be having and how I might address them, like I've addressed some of the struggles I've been having in this video. Now I have to admit, it is going slower and it is harder than I thought it would be. I feel as though that I'm working against GB Studio making this game, which is such a shame. The thing that's really slowing me down is the variable management. I'll talk about that a bit later in the video, but first I'll show you what I've got going so far. So I've built the game from GB Studio and I'm playing it in an emulator with my PS5 controller. But this gameplay starts very simply. What we do is we choose a character. If you watched the last video, we choose one character and then we fight against one enemy. In this video, I'm showing you I've made it 3v3. So let's pick our characters, and the order we pick them does matter. It's the order of attacks. So I choose the archer first. You see as well I've changed the display, so we have the ability attack here and then the ultimate attack down here, and it says exactly what they do. So, and also I've made it so at the bottom left the characters show up as the ones you've picked. This one's a good character. It removes the defense of the enemy. And then I also like using the paladin, because once the cooldown of the ultimate is done, you can increase the party stats, but it's only for the current battle. I'm gonna try and play this until it like properly breaks. There are a lot of bugs in this that is almost that I'm like struggling to overcome with the time I currently have. But I'll just show you how it works. So we currently, I think this is extremely similar to the previous one, but now the little dudes are animated. It's just our characters that are animated. And let's do the ability attack all enemies. We hit all three, perfect. And then not enough energy. We only have 2 energy points left. This is worth 2 energy points, but we missed. And when we run out of energy, we have to press start to then take it to their turn. And it was a weird, I think there was a bug there where they didn't attack us. And it just went straight to the next scene. So now we are the knight, and let's attack this one, the zombie. We hit let's use our ability to reduce their defense. When we reduce their defense, our attacks then do more damage if we hit. And it currently looks like we're missing. We only have 1 energy point left. Do 2 damage hopefully. Nope. We only did 1. Okay, so now with a paladin, we can stop them from dodging. So let's use our ability to hopefully hit them. Yep, now they can't dodge. So hopefully we can do this again. And we defeated them. Beautiful. And you might have seen there are some display issues there. The problem I'm having is that I'm drawing so many so much stuff on the screen right now with the draw text script that things are overlapping each other. And the only way of like clearing what you've drawn already is to like load the level again. So I'm struggling. I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling. There are other ways of doing this, for example using sprites or by replacing the tiles on the screen, or by drawing it physically myself onto the background tiles into the background image, so that it can just already be like that. So let's just keep playing and see what else we can find. We actually, if you saw, we attacked all the enemies and then one of them is technically still there. You can see it, but the health points are gone, meaning it's probably dead, and it should be gone, but it's not, which is another bug. and it's just because it's actually so complicated. I'll talk about how I'm doing it in the second half of the video when I talk you through the GB Studio project. Stay tuned for that if you're interested in figuring out why there are so many bugs and why I'm struggling so much. But I hope you can see that I have actually improved it since the last video. And there's no animations of them attacking yet. That was one thing I really wanted to get done, but that is so linked with the coding that I needed to do the coding first, and then I now need to go back and link it so that then they show animations. But before I had the code to like actually do everything properly, it didn't make sense to do it make it animated before I'd properly coded it. I'll definitely talk about some of the struggles I've been having and how you can not have these issues going into your own game. And one of them, or the main one, is just simplifying the game. I deliberately tried to make it as complicated as I could because I would want a game like this. I would want to play a game like this. And I'm realizing that to do it in GB Studio with the current way I'm doing it isn't really that tenable. So I would definitely recommend learning GBVM, the code language that GB Studio is built in, if you're trying to make an intensive game like this going forward. I'm tempted to, because I want to make a game this complicated, but I don't want it to take as long as I'm taking on it and be as full as bugs as I'm finding it to be. But doing everything with visual scripting is slowing me down, to say the least. Once we get to a high enough level and we go around enough times, the cooldown will actually matter and we'll actually be able to get to use our ultimate. Until then, we can't actually use it. Maybe I should make it that you can use it at the very beginning, but it then can't be used for a while. I'm not sure. That's a good idea. It's a good point. There's so many things that, like, as from a designer's perspective, that I can adjust. And if I was to adjust every single one every time I thought of it, I would be here forever. So I write them down and I have loads and loads of notes of things that I would want to do in the game. And unfortunately, I can't get to all of them as quickly as I'd like. So it's a shame. However, it does feel like I'm going back to university in a way, where we're taught agile development, where we make a game, and as we make it, we think about what is fun and what needs to be done, and we maximize the player's fun as much as we can. But it's just very buggy. And this is how it should be. I hope seeing this is a good example for you guys of, like, when you're in development, the game doesn't have to be perfect straight away. And especially if this is your first game in the genre, which this is my first RPG battle game properly, right, using 3v3 characters and enemies, then you're gonna have problems and you're gonna have to figure things out. You're gonna have to, trial and error a lot of it. Especially if you're not just following a tutorial that someone else made. So I hope that by seeing what I'm doing, and you can kind of see what I'm doing wrong or see what I'm doing right, what you'd want to copy over, how you'd simplify it, how you might change it. And there are other things that I haven't yet got to. For example, in the code there is the ability to do burn damage, curse, and heal, but they currently are never applied or anything, right? But the variables are there waiting to be used, and they're all set up waiting. So if I was smart, I would cut those features. However, I think it's important to push myself on this, to be honest. I think that a game with those abilities and aspects will make for a better end game. Like, what I'm doing right now is a good start, but it will probably get boring if I don't change the gameplay, right? The whole idea of me designing this was about the synergies between the characters, and as you go through these levels, the hope was to get access to more different abilities and ultimates and upgrade your stats so that you can affect you can have a different playthrough every run. That was the plan, and so I don't want to go against that plan because I still believe in it. This does feel like a homebrew game, though. This feels very homebrew. Like it feels like the quality you would imagine somebody in the 80s programming. And now I'm playing it on this old CRT monitor as well. I believe that more. I'm seeing the little bit of magic in it, which is kind of cool. I'm seeing more and more display bugs as I'm playing. But yeah, as I said, I'll walk through with you at the end. I'm going to see how far I can get, and I'll get back to you. So yeah, this game is currently struggling with coding problems and balancing issues. But as I said, it's in development. It's a learning curve, as you might well know. We're on level 7 now, and I have found a bug here where I don't think the enemies are actually hitting us, and I believe it's where I'm setting the current stats to the original stats again, is where something's going wrong. And I believe it's a fix. I know how to fix it. It's just a simple variable error. I'm putting in the wrong variable in a custom script, or I'm using the wrong custom script basically. So yeah, I'll show you. I'll fix it for you and I'll show you basically how it works better. But I am kind of addicted to this right now. I just want to see how far I can get, and knowing that they can't die means that it will be forever. But there'll be a time when they're too strong and I cannot hit them. I'm able to kill them with this. Come on, nope, missed. See, stats are scaling with the level, and so it gets harder and harder. One more time around, and we'll have our ultimates back. I can just skip if I want by pressing start. Let's try and defeat this with my ultimate. Attack all enemies for 10. Bingo. See, that is a good one. Still has a chance of missing. I feel like the cooldown needs to be less. And again, this is conversations of balance rather than of actual like fundamental coding of the game. It's just the numbers rather than the system. But that's fine. That's good to talk about too. So let's jump into GB Studio and take a look at it. Now then, the big bug I want to fix is the player characters not receiving damage when they get hit by the enemy. So I'll show you where that is right now. And the reason why that's not working correctly is because that's the last thing I worked on, and I haven't actually fully tested it or realized it was broken. So here we are in the enemy attack battle scene, and what we're doing is setting an attacker and who's to be attacked. Basically, how I've done this before, I was using like the hard-coded variables of each character. So each character, if you look in the spreadsheet from the first video, it was like 0, 1, and then every variable 0, 2, and 0, 3. They're the characters you've chosen from your party. Character, or what, number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then the enemy has E1, E2, and E3. So there's 6 sets of variables, and to hard code each and every one of them would mean that there would be like a switch statement, and it would repeat each one just with each of those hard coded variables, which is a silly way of doing it. You should really only do anything once that needs doing. So that's what I did. I created a temporary character select variable set of variables, and so each of those is called CS and then the name of the variable, and the enemy has one called ES, so like enemy select and character select. And so at the beginning it sets all of the CS variables to the correct character variables, and then at the end, once all of the fighting has been done, it then sets them back, sets the 01, 02 or 03, depending on which character you were, variables to the CS variables. So then we've like filtered in to the correct one, we've done our one set of calculations, and then we've set all of the affected stats then to the correct character. And then we also make sure that the enemy stats are doing a similar thing. However, in the enemy attack battle screen down here, I'm using a different variable to check which character we're currently using. So if I go to set stacks at CS vars, see we're using current character for the character, and we're using current enemy. But if you remember, if we go in here at the very top, we're doing current attacked and current attacker, because this current the current enemy and current character need to stay consistent outside of this scene. So the current character variable is kept track of so that we know sequentially which character we need to play as next. However, the current attacked is the character that the enemy will be attacking, and we don't want that to just be the same character as the one we're playing as. I want it to be random. Like how we choose the enemy, I want the enemy to choose us randomly. So that's how I've done it. I've created these current attacked and current attacker variables to do that for me. I'm going to write here in this current character / enemy. And then I'm going to copy this script and I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it exactly the same as the other one. And then I'm going to change the values in this here to be current attacked, and then in this one, current attacker. And all this will do then is hopefully update the correct enemy stats at the end. Now, it's probably not that simple, and there's probably some other deeper issues that I haven't thought about in this scene, but by playing it and testing it more and more, we're going to get closer to the real thing. And hopefully this little fix has already done that. So, I'm going to talk about now some ways that I would, if I were you doing this again, how you might approach it to make life a bit easier for you. So, I do think that how I've done it, where I'm checking to see which character we're currently playing as, and then using a current set of variables that basically are then set to the one we've chosen, and then at the end of everything set the one that we chose to the current stats that we're using, right? It's really hard to explain, but having that where no matter how many characters you have, you're just using one set of variables to do all the calculations in, and can set to it and then set from it every time. That's a way of doing it. I also think that simplifying the stats will help you. For example, if instead of 4 attacks you have 2, you already have cut your workload in half. Maybe if it's exponential as well, you might even cut it in by 20. By 20 times you might have cut out so much work. So keeping things small and simple, always going to be my advice, especially if you're working on your own. It's just going to save you time, hassle, headaches, and it's also going to be a simpler game to understand for the player too. You won't have to design menus, right, that you have to flick through and figure things out. If you only ever have one enemy, for example, and you only ever have 2 attacks per character, things are going to be simpler. Things are just going to go smoother in every way possible, right? It's only if you are dreaming big and want to make things really big and complicated that you would want to do something like I'm doing here. So this is a warning. Heed my warning. The more and more I'm thinking about it, the more and more I would suggest making a game simpler than what I have here. For example, I don't think I need a heavy and a basic attack. I could get rid of them. I can get rid of one of them maybe, because they both offer the same thing. You need to think about redundancies in your design so that your coding and creation and development doesn't have to be so complex and frustrating, or just time consuming. It doesn't have to be, you might not find it frustrating, it's just about time consuming and testable, right? How likely is it that you'll be able to test every case? However, I do feel like I'm learning from this. Even going over this now, it's reminding me of Take It Racing 2 and how I dreamt so big with that and I had to cut it down in the end, right? I think we forget these challenges we've overcome in the past, and we grow back up to these, you know, big dreams, and then we eventually, you know, we probably are. I probably am gonna be a step up from Take It Racing 2, purely because I made Take It Racing 2 all the way to the end, right? It's gonna be a step up from what it was at the end, but that doesn't mean that I'll get there any quicker, right? And if I'm shooting for the stars again, I'm gonna get there very slowly. It's a bit far away, but that's okay. I hope that this is, although teaching me, it's teaching you too. If you can, let me know about what game projects you're working on. If you're trying to overcome any extreme challenges right now in GB Studio. If you're thinking of moving to GBVM possibly and just coding it yourself. I've been playing Zelda on Game Boy, and I'm seeing so many things that the GB Studio, I would struggle to do in GB Studio. Unless I was to edit the engine files, then I'm kind of thinking I need to learn about it, right? I need to learn about the engine files, learn about GBVM, and kind of possibly go deeper into coding than I am right now. Because all of this is visual scripting, and I feel like that's holding me back in some cases. So on that note, I'll put my patrons up on the screen right now. Thank you so much to you guys. You guys are the absolute best. Remember to like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you want to see next from this RPG battle template. And if there's any specific things that you're doing in your game that you might want me to try out. And let me know if you want to see more of this CRT monitor going forward. I feel like it'd be fun to try things out with. I know there's Brandon James Greer. He likes to do that CRT time where he's showing his pixel art. I think it'd be cool to play some old retro games on this thing. So let me know what you'd like to see me play, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.